Hi there, Sanna here again with a second part of the gypsum resin modeling material, art stone, resin, I don't know, frills series with the glimmer mists, and we are testing how the glimmer mists work with this type of material. So I'm just taking a little bit of the frills and placing them here into the tin, because otherwise they will just run away. And then I'm going to take some art stones. I think I need another tin part to try this out. Okay, so let's put some of the art stones here. So I'm just using my spoon, taking some of them. These are really light, and they're basically just round stones. And I was thinking that I'd try some, I don't know, some embossing powder. I have no idea how that works, because I don't know if it dries, if you mist it, if it ruins the material. So I've got some white embossing powder here. I'm just going to add a little bit of this over here and leave that to dry then, and we'll see if I can still use that for heating for the embossing technique in the end, or if that bit is going to be totally ruined and unusable, but that's why we're testing. Okay, so I've got the light modeling material there. These are by Relics and Artifacts. This is resin, this is gypsum. These are done by me, and I've used Mold Muse mold for these. These are by Melissa Francis. These are gypsum or resin pieces. This is a resin flower that I've done myself. This is paperclay. These are also resin pieces. Then I've got the art stones, the frills, and the embossing powder there. So I'm going to make, I'm a little bit scared what happens if I spray it directly. It's just going to blow around. So I'm just going to add some glimmer mist into the spoon and then add it to the powder and mix it together. Well, this will be a mess, I think. I don't know if you can do this, if that actually works, but I think it's still going to go back into its powder form eventually, so we might get some results in the end. But it's a messy thing to do, so probably better to buy a toned embossing powder from the store. You get the color and you don't have to make such a mess at home. So I just added some gold in there. It's not mixing very well, so probably just going to be not usable, but we'll see. We'll leave that there, and then let's take some blue for the frills. So these have a shiny surface. The frills have like an iridescent surface on them. So I'm just carefully adding some color there, and I'm letting the color soak into the frills on its own and leave that to air dry. And we'll do the same with the art stones. Let's just spray some color into the tin. Let's do two colors. Let's do green and pink. So I'm just misting them like this, and then I could even, they soak the color really nicely into them, so they're not moving, so they're easy to mist. So let's leave that to dry there. So I've got some pink there and some aquamarine going on. And as it looks like, the color shade is going to be quite soft, so you get a pastelic look when you mist the art stones. Okay, we'll leave that to dry. That will be probably not going to work out, but we tried. And then let's do the light modeling material. I think I'll do this one with pink. I just need to protect the other ones from getting damaged. And then I want to do the flame in gold. So I'm just adding a slight layer of gold there. And then let's do the crown. This is already a little bit green, so let's add some more green on top. So I'm suspecting that the gypsum takes the color really nicely. And let's make a blue crown to get some variations here. And then we have this piece. I think I want to do that on gold again. Move it aside to leave it to dry. Then we've got this part here. It already has some green in there because I was testing it with Distress, I think it was Distress Oxides that I tested it with. So I'm just going to spray some green on top. And then finally we still have this piece here. We didn't do that much pink, so let's make this pink. That should, I think that's resin. Then this one is the one that I made myself with a mold. So the color, the glimmer mist gathers into the deeper areas really nicely, so maybe we get some color in the end. And then finally I have these two small resin flowers here that I'm going to make. Let's make one blue. And the other one, I don't know, let's make a pink flower. Pink is a nice color here. Okay, so that's that. And let's start heating them a little bit. I think I can heat the art stones in the tin just slightly. To help them to dry. I've used art stones with glimmer mist previously, so I know that that works. Then the gypsum, let's give that piece some heat to help it to dry faster, and this one too. And then the paperclay piece. And this frame by Melissa Francis. And my resin flower is turning out really nice. Didn't expect that to happen. And then the flame by Sandra Evertson. So if you heat them a little bit, it helps the color to dry a little bit faster, and when you have forms and patterns like this, where there's a higher area and lower areas, then that will help the color to stick to the surface faster and not move around and run down the form. So you actually get some color onto that piece. Then I've got the light paste. And that's a really porous surface, so it will take the color really well. It really soaks into the surfaces. You can see there's a big difference on the color. That one's really pink and that one's really green, and this gypsum piece is much lighter, almost pastelic. And what you need to keep in mind, that we cannot heat because we've got the embossing powder there. It's going to stick to that area otherwise. So let's save that and let that air dry. And here it works really nicely too. So resin, flowers, gypsum, paperclay, you can do all these things. You can color them with glimmer mists. Either add the color with the paintbrush or spray it directly onto the surface. Works really nicely. Just not going to overheat them so that they start to deform themselves maybe. Don't know what's going to happen. Okay, and now you need to be careful because these are going to be hot. If they have metal parts in them, you will burn your fingers. Metal tins, when you heat them, turn out really hot, so you need to leave them to dry a little bit on their own, to cool them down a little bit on their own, and then first take the product out of there. So what we got here is the art stones, and they have a really nice color in there. It's a little bit lighter than the original tone, but you still have color, so you can definitely use colors. The pink turned out not that nice, but maybe if you add a second layer on top when the first one's dried out, then maybe it looks different. But the greens are really nice, so you might need to take darker colors to get really nice shades. And the gold probably doesn't show that much in there. The frills turned out really lovely, really even coverage everywhere. Lovely results, and you can still see the original iridescent, like pearl-like shine that the frills have on their own, and then you just add a little bit glimmer mist on top and you double the shimmer and glimmer in there. And this one will be interesting to see when that's all dry. That might take a few days even, and then I'll just test the embossing powder if it still works, if it's usable, and then what it looks like on paper when I've done the embossing technique. But that will need a little more time, so this will not be finished with this video series, or I just add the results at the end of the edited video. Then we've got light foam, kind of, this is really a light material, so this is a modeling material from a regular paper supply store. These are used for kids' crafts a lot of times. It takes the colors really well, so you get really strong colors with that type of modeling material. Then we've got the resin piece by Sandra Evertson by Relics and Articrafts, and this looks lovely. I really like how the gold gathers in all those deeper areas here, and you have a lot of shine going on there. This will be beautiful on some kind of mixed media project. And then I've got my resin flower, and this is really pure resin. Can you see how that shines? Opera, sorry. And it really turned out golden. And I've even got some gold concentrations here and there, so it has a really interesting look. Then I've got the gypsum crowns. They look like this. You've got a nice even coverage, and the deeper areas even have some glimmer and shine in there. Can you see that? So you can definitely use molds and glimmer mists together and create all kinds of embellishments of your own. For your craft projects, then we've got this Melissa Francis form, and the gold really gathered lovely into those deeper areas, and this has like an antique look when it's covered with the gold. Then we have the paper clay, and that turned out really lovely. It's totally green, even coverage all around when you spray it, and the deeper areas also have this glimmer concentrations in there. I don't know if I can tilt that into right position so that you can see some of the shine there. And then also this piece, due to its form, some of the color rolled down along the edges, so we didn't get an even coverage here. So maybe a paintbrush would help just to finish it up a little bit. And then finally we've got the 2 resin flowers from Scrapberries. This one was a little bit more ivory and this is more white, and I've added the pink and the icicle blue, and they look really nice too. So you can also color resin pieces like this. Okay, so I will finish this video with this as it is now, and I will share pictures of the finished product when I've taken them and when I've edited the video, and then finally also test this strange paste here, which is embossing powder, and I've tried to color it with golden glimmer mist, but I don't think this experiment worked out really well. But it will take quite a while for it to dry up, and when it's dry I'm going to test it on paper and see what happens, and then add the pictures of that at the end of this video, if it's usable at all. So we need to see what happens with that. So I hope you enjoyed this part of the video series, and see you soon with another one. Thanks for watching.